Notre Dame handles Miami University in the most sloppy, ugly, weird, and horrendous way. We talk about it after this.
By Samaja, inside the 20, inside the 10, he's going in! Notre Dame has scored!
Go! You will be that driving force to motivate those coaches and those players to beat Southern Cal.
Notre Dame is relevant again.
The 20, the 10, 5-5 rocket touchdown!
Notre Dame is number one.
It's a game of who's going to flinch first. We know that isn't going to be Notre Dame.
The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame beat the Red Hawks of Miami University 28-3 on Saturday inside of Notre Dame Stadium. The game was weird, I will say. It was a really weird game. It was a weird game to be at. It was 90 degrees. The crowd was weird too. You had people passing out, people booing, people not getting excited. It was just a weird game to be at on Saturday afternoon. Our quarterback, if that's what you want to call him, Riley Leonard, went 16 for 24 for 154 yards. Ladies and gentlemen, he has thrown a touchdown pass. Let's give him the Heisman Trophy. Hand him the Heisman Trophy right now. Riley Leonard for Heisman. He's on the campaign. This is where I have an issue. He had 12 carries for 143 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 fumble. Jeremiah Love, our running back, who cannot be stopped at all, had 11 carries for 60 yards and a tutty. Bo Collins with 4 receptions for 60 yards. Christian Gray and Junior Tuamaka both had 1 interception. The defense gave up 119 yards from Dylan's best friend, Brett Gabbert. And we gave up 110 rush yards. Miami had 61 rush yards entering the game today, or on Saturday. They put up 110, against Notre Dame on Saturday. So, with that being said, as usual, we'll open up the panel. JR, a 28-3, a very sloppy, ugly. I know you listened to the game, but just a pathetic performance, in my opinion.
Yeah, the first sign of a good, well-coached, prepared team is your special teams. And again, we've repeatedly shown, other than the A&M game, that our special teams are unprepared. They're porous. They don't make any good plays. We fumbled the first punt after we go, 3 and out? We fumbled the punt inside our own 25. We put a guy back there who hadn't played in 3 weeks. So, again, I'm going to go back to, if you don't have anything good to say, I'm not going to say anything at all. So I'm ready for Louisville.
Louisville.
But the biggest thing that I had was our usage of backs. I'm pretty sure Riley Leonard leads us in rushing attempts.
Definitely. Oh, definitely.
On the year.
I would second that. I'll have to do my research tonight.
I'm trying to find it right now, but I know he has led us in attempts the last 2 games. So, Yeah,
it is what it is, and we are what we are. Dylan calls us the Pop Warner Irish. Dylan, a 28-3 victory. A lot of people, look at that score. Oh my gosh, the Falcons blew a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. But we beat Miami of Ohio by 25. We were favored by 28. Yeah, we almost pitched a shutout. Yeah, we won the game in controlling fashion, but it just didn't look good, Dylan. It did not look good.
It did not. And to your credit, I just found it. Jeremiah Love 46.
They're equal.
They're equal.
Which is basically saying that Riley Leonard leads, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, he's neck and neck with him in terms of yards, too. He's only about 17 off the lead. But anyway, let's look at this holistically. To JR's credit about special teams, it's just unprepared. Brian Kelly, how many times do we see Chris Fink back there returning kicks and punts? That guy was there for like 6 years. He wasn't going to be like a game breaker in terms of returning the ball, but what he did was catch it. And that's the first thing you got to do, is make sure you actually get the ball. So that was an issue. Let's figure out what you have. There were plenty of guys on Kelly's squads that could have had elite speed to break out big runs and returns and game-changing plays. So that's problem number one. Well, not necessarily problem number one. That's my point on that last take. Now we're going to problem number one, and it starts with QB1, if that's what you want to call him, Landon's quote there. I mean, what in the hell are we doing? Just honestly sit back and watch. If that's all Riley Leonard could do, why didn't he go to Navy? He run every play there. That's basically what we're doing. Marcus Freeman has watched Navy the past couple of years because we faced him, and he says, let's see if we can do what they do. Basically, I mean, this is ridiculous. Riley, he's a quarterback. I don't know if Denbrock and Freeman know that you're allowed to throw the ball. Maybe they thought that was one of the rule changes in college football this year. I don't know if that was something that that they knew that they were allowed to do. But your quarterback has 65 completions on the year and 46 rush attempts.
Yeah.
65 completions. Quarterback, throw the ball. 46 rush attempts. I mean, he may be the worst starting quarterback I've seen put on this uniform in my entire lifetime. It's just so bad. A 3-star guy, injury prone. I mean, I don't want to bury the preview, but they're going to get our ass kicked next week.
Don't bury the preview. Don't step on my toes here for tomorrow. Logan, a 28-3 victory. Dylan, I agree with everything you just said. That was very well said. Logan, 28-3. We were there. It was a weird game. I think that I'm going to say that a lot about this game. It was very weird.
Very, probably one of the weirdest games I've been to since little Logan has been going to the games. QB1, I don't think is the issue. And I will wholeheartedly say that. I don't think making a quarterback change fixes any major program issue, and it is a lazy approach, in my opinion. When your head coach, quote, Miami should be confident coming here. They have a defense that forces you to be methodical, and you have to understand that. We are going to do what they let us do.
What?
Pre-game. That, Dylan, is not a Riley Leonard issue. That's not a wide receiver issue. That's not an offensive line issue. That is a major program issue. We are going to let Miami of Ohio dictate what we do. That's where we're at as a program. That's not a Riley Leonard issue.
100%.
And that's the message that I guarantee you got preached when they got back from West Lafayette. That's how they got Riley prepared. And their preparation, that's what is being preached. If he's willing to tell millions of people that we are going to do what Miami of Ohio lets us do, I guarantee you that he's telling everybody in that locker room that is the plan, and that is who we are. So, the scapegoat can be Riley. People can throw it on one individual, which is completely fine. But when the leader of your program says that, that's an issue.
I'm sick to my stomach. I cannot believe he said those words. And I know before the game, before the game, also in a pregame interview, he said with NBC, He also said that if Riley can't throw, or maybe it was the post game, I believe, if Riley Leonard can't throw a ball in practice, we won't call that play.
Another big day for your quarterback, 3 total touchdowns, but he got his first passing touchdown of the season. What'd you see from his play?
You know what, he was consistent. You know, there's some throws he's got to make. He knows that. We'll clean it up in practice, or guess what? If we don't like the way he throws those plays in practice, then don't call him, you know, so.
What the hell, man? A, don't call the plays, or B, get somebody in there who can make those throws, or C, develop, be a coach, do your job, and develop him so he can make those throws.
This goes back to last week. They didn't have that mindset last week, and that goes to show they played the way that they played last week in spite of the coach. They said, screw it. We'll run what you want to run, but we're going to take care of this game ourselves. And we're just going to shove it down your throat. And they did. And then this week it's, oh, we're going to take what they give us because they have a nice defense from the MAC and all that baloney. No, we're going to do what we want to do, and you're going to try and stop it. Period. End of discussion. Whether you want to run Riley Leonard 50 times a game or you want to throw him twice a game, I don't care. But the other team never dictates what you want to do. Period.
You go until they stop you. You run what you run. You stick true to your colors until they can stop you.
It might factor into some of the things that you wanted, that you have to do throughout the course of the game. But you always want to be in a position where you're dictating the pace, you're dictating the tempo, you're dictating the emotion, the energy, all of that. You don't want to be reactionary. You want them to be reactionary. So, guys, we got Logan.
We're a reactive program.
Yeah, Logan.
And
I
it
like
goes
what
to
you
show
said. It's not a Riley Leonard thing. That is a lazy take. I do think putting a different quarterback in there could be a short-term solution, but I agree with you. Holistically, it's a much deeper problem than just the guy that's playing quarterback.
Go for it.
I honestly hope they make a change, because a lot of these people will think, okay, the problem's going to be solved.
Right.
And then they're going to realize, hey, it's not.
No, the scary part is he's being really stubborn, and he's doubling down on Riley Leonard.
And I don't know if you guys saw on Saturday, a lot of people have been calling for Steve Angeli. This dude went 0 for 1 or 1 for 2, I believe. He missed a wide open receiver by about 5 yards at the end of the game on Saturday. Steve Angeli's not the answer. I just wanted to say that, Dylan.
Yeah, but that's hard to. I mean, got to go in all game and make one throw, and
it was a bad throw. I don't care who you are. It was a bad throw. I don't care.
Come off the bench and make a play like that, Lando.
It was a terrible throw.
Well, give him a shot. Give him a shot. Okay, going back to this, I think we can come to terms. This is a problem, especially when you have such a good person there. Just come to terms. Like, he's a good guy, but he's a bad coach. There are many occasions like that where teams, organizations, you see it in pro sports too, where they give the person a little bit extra leash because they're such a good person and they're good for that. And especially the college level now. I mean, you're shaping kids right now. These are kids' lives that you're having an impact on. And when you have a good person in there, that probably changes that. But at the end of the day, you need someone who can coach this team. And the guy that's doing it now cannot do it. He just sits there with his arms folded, doesn't know how to count, can't scheme, can't prepare. He's lost. He's lost at one of the most prestigious universities in college football. And he doesn't have a damn clue what he's doing. He's looking like a clown every week he takes the field.
Last year after the Clemson loss, JR made a point. After Clemson, he said that we need to have a discussion. Marcus Freeman may be a little bit in over his head. The job may be a little bit too big for him, because at that point we were suffering our third loss, another loss on the road under him. I tried to debunk it a little bit, but at this point, I can't. I have no argument with him being in over his head. And, he dresses nice in tight clothes with pants that I could see his ankles in. He's a really nice guy, very good, very nice man. He is a fantastic defensive coordinator. He is not a head coach at a major level yet, in my opinion. I think, he needs to spend some time in the MAC. He needs to spend some time in the Sun Belt. He needs to spend some time at maybe another independent school. Oh, wait. Anyway, let's talk about the defense a little bit here. We held Miami of Ohio to 3 points, which again, our defense kept us in that game. Ultimately, I think once again put us in a position to win the game. Their receivers were open quite a bit, and with a better quarterback, such as Louisville coming in, not to step on Tuesday's show, we need to press up a little bit more. I think we were playing back more. We weren't pressing up, a lot of zones. It was very vanilla all through and through, in my opinion, Logan.
I thought our secondary actually was a highlight. My biggest issue was Miami came in with averaging 1.7 yards a carry and almost doubled that against Notre Dame. Gave up 110 rushing yards. I think that's a bigger issue than our second.
I was getting to that. Yes, I think that is a major issue to worry about. Steve? That was actually my notes here. To defend the run. I was getting to that, but I want to talk about the secondary a little bit. There was a lot of incompletions, but watching the replays of the video boards, their receivers had some space. They had some space that is concerning to me, and with a better quarterback, I think, who can make those throws to those open receivers, a little bit worrisome. And even Ryan Harris was talking about that, saying play up a little bit more. But yeah, our secondary forced 2 interceptions on Gabbert, Dylan's buddy there, Brett Gabbert. So my player or actually staying on that, defending the run is definitely a concern for me. We gave up 146 yards at Texas A&M, 190 against Northern Illinois, 38 at Purdue. Let's just throw that game out the door. I mean, throw it out. 66-7. Purdue's now 1-2. Oregon State boat raced them. So 190, 146, and then 110 this past Saturday. So we've seen it quite a bit. Defending the run is an issue, and there's going to be a lot more teams coming into South Bend, and we're going to play honestly, a good rushing team in a couple weeks in Georgia Tech, JR.
I want to go back to the defense if I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's not forget the play that Schuler made, another undisciplined play at a key point in the game. Mm-hmm. Now, again, he reacted. He reacted, Freeman. He reacted to Schuler quite demonstratively from what I saw. So I just want to point that back out. But, and then I don't want to jump the chute either. I think we're going to beat Louisville. I think we're going to be okay. I think you guys are maybe overvaluing the Louisville team, but go back to what you asked me. Could you repeat that?
Is defending the run a concern to you at this point? Because we got a lot better teams coming in who run the ball a lot better than Miami and Texas A&M and Northern Illinois.
No, what's concerning to me is the amount that we lean and the amount that we ask our defense to do week to week. Mm-hmm. We can't keep asking them to do the things that we need them to do because offensively we can't compliment them enough. We're getting away with it now because we're playing lesser opponents. Well, we've only gotten away with it in 2 of the 3 games. And for really half of that game, we were in trouble.
Yes.
Georgia Tech lost at Louisville. They lost by 12. I think it was a 7.5 point spread. Louisville's a nice team. They're going to contend in the ACC, but they're no world beaters. They're no SEC giant. They're no, Big Ten giant either. So if we're starting to now concern ourselves with the Georgia Tech running game in the Louisville Cardinals, yeah, they're good. They're 15th, but we should never be in a position where we're losing to Louisville because we're worried about their rush defense top to bottom, we should be better in all phases of the game comparatively to Louisville. Now, we're not. I mean, flat out, they're going to have a better quarterback. They're going to have a better coach. They're probably going to have a better scheme. They're probably going to be better prepared. All of these things are problems that we've tried to highlight for 3 years. Yeah, and here we are. I mean, it's manifesting itself, and hope for the best and prepare for the worst.
And unfortunately, I am preparing for the worst. I really don't. I'm really nervous, and I know you said it. I got you, Dylan. Louisville's not world beaters. However, they're a better team than us through and through, in my opinion. And so,
unacceptably,
it is unacceptable for Louisville to be better than Notre Dame. Louisville, go ahead, Dylan.
I have a question for you guys right here, and I know this is also looking ahead, not just this week but beyond.
Killing me here.
I'm not stepping on your toes. We're talking about run defenses, and there's a team that historically runs the ball well. That's one of our rivals. Do we see any scenario where Navy beats us this year?
Oh, no. I don't want to.
We already lost to the worst team on our schedule.
They just put up like 54, didn't they? Didn't they beat somebody 50, 45?
Yeah, Army's looking pretty good too. They're scoring 30-something a game. They're undefeated right now. They got Temple coming in too.
I mean, you asked about Navy, and I want to go back to what Logan says. The consistency, week to week, we don't know what the hell's going to show up.
Yeah.
We don't know who we are other than we know what we aren't.
A good team.
We know what we certainly aren't. And I'd rather have a quarterback that can throw and can't run than one that can run and can't throw.
Yeah, absolutely. Dylan, I don't think we lose to Navy. It could happen. We've seen it before, but I don't think we lose to Navy. I think our defense is too good to allow us to lose to Navy. So my player of the game on Saturday, the punter, James Rendell. He had a fantastic game on Saturday. Really responded well to the talk about him. He had 189 total yards of punting on Saturday afternoon at Notre Dame Stadium. He had 4 punts, averaging 47.3 yards a punt. So, hey, the punter, special teams. He was a highlight on the special teams on Saturday. We're going to need him on the following Saturday against Louisville if we're going to be punting the ball a lot, pin them deep. So, with that being said, it was a slow start in South Bend on Saturday. It was 0-0 at the end of the first quarter, and I gotta say, I was pretty worried. I thought, oh, and here we go again. And it was just a weird game. Again, weird. This team is weird. This team is very, very weird. It was a very vanilla game as well. Didn't do anything special. So with that being said, time to move on, turn the page to Louisville. But first, before we get out of here, college football, week 4, a surprisingly good week in week 4 of college football. Clemson has awakened. They won 59-35 over NC State, scored 28 points in the first quarter. This week, 35 points in the first quarter. Last week against Appalachian State. Hey, Michigan. So yeah, Clemson, they could really, there is a chance that Clemson goes 11-1, wins the ACC, and gets that first round bye. I think we overreacted a little bit after losing to Georgia. James Madison beats my best friend, Mac Brown, at North Carolina, 70-50. James Madison put up 53 points in the first half. There's some controversy going on in North Carolina right now. Mac Brown said, I don't want to coach this team anymore after the game in the locker room. North Carolina has put out some damage control, but some Mel Tucker allegations may be coming his way there in Chapel Hill. Michigan upsets USC 27-24. The Trojan man keeps harping on the officials. I'm not in favor of putting a game on the officials. You had plenty of opportunities to win that game, and they flat out did not. It was a pathetic coaching performance from Lincoln Riley. a lot of people saying on X, a Lincoln Riley masterclass. So Michigan gets a much needed win in their schedule. They still have Oregon on that schedule, Ohio State on that schedule as well. Michigan, they needed that one to continue their playoff push. Buffalo knocks off number 23 Northern Illinois 23-20 in overtime in DeKalb before the upset victory in the MAC. Man, that's just a blow to us. I mean, Buffalo beat that team, and we couldn't, and it's a damn shame.
Credit to Michigan. They own their identity, and they just went out and said, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, they did. And they won the damn game. 32 passing yards, I believe, was the final stat line for Orgy. I read an X. Iowa and Michigan combined for 94 passing yards. They both won their games on Saturday. So, hey, bring back the triple option. Let's just get rid of the forward pass, get rid of covered 2 for Mel Kiper, and let's just run the option, every team. Arkansas beats Auburn in Jordan Hare, and Hugh Freeze has thrown his players under the bus. He is in deep, might I say it, shit in Auburn, Alabama.
He's really lobbying for Deuce.
After what he said about his quarterback.
And we got to find a guy that won't throw it to the other team. And we got to find running backs that hold on to it.
I think a coach should never throw his kids under the bus. That's pathetic. He's pathetic. Utah beats Oklahoma State 22-19 on the road in Stillwater. Wow. A big win for the Utes. They are a playoff team. I think this team wins the Big 12. Utah really solidified it for me with a good win on the road against another team who I think could make the playoffs if they win out now. Missouri survives Vandy in 2 overtimes. Clark Lee versus Coach Drink. Wow, that was a wild game. 2 overtimes and it took a missed field goal. It's like one of those kicks on NCAA 25 that just goes straight sideways there for Vandy to end the game. So Missouri survives. They drop in the polls as they should. The Florida State Seminoles are back. They win a game over California, a conference game over the Bears, 14-9. A typical Florida State 2024 game, 14-9. Dylan sent off a text while I was driving home. I didn't get to see it till I got home. And he said, Florida State about to lose another one. I was kind of getting excited there when I saw it, but then looked up the final score and saw that they had won the game. Tennessee dominates Oklahoma 25-15. The final score was a lot closer than what it should have been and what it was. I think if Josh Heupel could have really stomped on the Sooners' throats, but out of respect for Oklahoma and what Oklahoma means to him, he kept it somewhat respectable in Norman. A&M survives Bowling Green 26-20, another team on our schedule that just, hey, win's a win. 4 more. Colorado beats Baylor in overtime. A good win for the Buffs at home over the Big 12 team. They, 3-1 right now. They are tied for first place now in the Big 12, I believe, with a 1-0 record. So Colorado with a huge conference win at home in Boulder. They got a big one next week on the road in Orlando. Stanford upset Syracuse for their first ever ACC victory in the Dome. Whatever they call that now. I don't know what they call it. It's not the Carrier Dome anymore. But hey, Stanford, another team on our schedule. Keep on winning. We need them to win. BYU, the Mormons, baby. They blow out Kansas State. They win me the picks in week 4, 38-9 at Brigham Young. And lastly, Illinois beats Nebraska in Lincoln. Nebraska. JR got to see this when Nebraska was good, was a powerhouse. I don't think we did. Nebraska is cursed in our lifetime, though. I mean, they had all this hype surrounding this team, all this hype surrounding this game, and they get beat by Brett Bielema, who talks at the side of his mouth, and Illinois. So, JR, we'll end it with this. JR got to see Nebraska in its prime. What has happened to the Huskers?
Well, no more Tom Osborne. They've been looking for his replacement ever since. Mid-90s Nebraska, Tommy Frazier. I mean, they were nasty. in early 80s, Nebraska was really good too. They were just so dominant in the 80s and 90s. I think it's probably maybe a little bit of unfair expectations trying to replace Osborne. Pelini had a decent little bit of a time there.
Yeah.
Who was the coach when they came to South Bend and we lost?
With their Heisman quarterback winner. I don't know the coach, but that was 2001, I believe, when they beat us 28-27.
From the punt. That's really the last time that they were really a player on the scene. But I'm sure that they face some recruiting issues too. I mean, let's be honest. If you're on the East Coast or you're in the Southeast, are you going to want to go to Nebraska? If you're on the West Coast and you're, in California, or are you going to go to Nebraska? Probably not.
Good corn. Good
so,
beer. Good beer.
Unless they step up their NIL and they're allowed to do that now and they start, competing with the Texases of the world, they are what they are.
Yeah, and we are what we are, and we will see that tomorrow. We will talk about number 16 Notre Dame and number 15 Louisville tomorrow on the Golden Domers Report. Until then, go Irish.